Kaswa, who killed a young friend of his because he watched a ritualist on TV asking for a human head. We need to protect our children. And so as broadcasters, you have a responsibility. You have a freedom of expression, but you have a responsibility to the children of our country. You must manage your freedom with the responsibility of content that you put out. And so notice is hereby said, by the end of this quarter, we will clamp down heavily on stations involved who are operating using our frequency. We're not going to be getting into the issue of your content. We're simply going to be taking our frequency authorization to protect the Ghanaian children. We'll be withdrawing our frequency authorization. Because if you would not self-regulate, the state will self-regulate you. Because we would not, in the name of freedoms, expose our children to unwholesome content. And the problem is that some of this content is even shown as early as 5 and 6 p.m. So media houses and media owners, you have a responsibility. And I'll be acting lawfully because the Constitution and the Act gives us the right to act in public safety and public interest instances to protect our children. That leads me to the issue of that Obed asked EIB. I did not say I was going to shut down radio stations. What I said is that there are infractions. In fact, in the immediate instance I would reference, I ordered the shutdown of 1 and the revocation of 6 licenses. I shut down, I directed the NCA to immediately take action to shut down a radio station in the Boku area, Guma FM. Now that again, I exercised extreme caution. We all know what's going on in Boku. When I got the request from state security, I said to them that until I saw a certain process, I will not act. Until we acted in good faith. There was a RegSec meeting at the Regional Coordinating Council where all stakeholders were present. Their report was filed. That was sent to the Ministry of Local Government, forwarded to the Ministry of Interior, and it came to us. In the 10 days when I failed to act in court because I was waiting to follow due process, 7 people were killed. And so there is actually a cost associated at times with not acting expeditiously. And because we wanted to be minded by the law, we went through the process. And so that station had its license revoked because it wasn't the first time. The previous government had actually suspended their license. They had signed a bond to be of good behavior, and then they had been reinstated, and then they had gone back to do the same. And was posing risk to our men and women in uniform who are serving in Boku, and will continue to protect them. The other 6 stations had varying degrees of infractions, paperwork, fees, and so I have not revoked those licenses. I've suspended those licenses. There's a difference between the two. What happened previously was a revocation of licenses. This one we're suspending. And we're giving you the opportunity to come and remedy the situation. If you have to submit your tax clearance, bring your tax clearance. If you have to pay regulatory fees, come and pay them. And then we will reinstate you. But let me be very clear on one thing. The Justice Dateba ruling on the Radio Gold case has made it clear that if you allow your license to lapse, even if you were my blood brother, I will not be able to renew your license for you. The Dateba ruling is clear that you cannot, radio frequency authorizations are not like driver's license. If the license lapses, you don't have anything again to renew. And now the NCA has commenced serving notices 6 months before the expiration of your license, notifying you, because you need to indicate by law 3 months to the expiration that you will renew your license. They remind you 6 months, they remind you 3 months, and remind you in the week of its termination or expiry and you still don't go to renew, you can't blame anybody when you come for a renewal and we tell you that there is nothing to renew. The law is the law. To plead with my countrymen and women, especially the young people of our country, I know that we are all looking for opportunities, but no minister of state, no member of parliament will come on Facebook or TikTok, leave everything that they have to do, and come into your inbox to greet you, ask you how are you doing, and ask you how can they be of help to you. You've not finished solving the problems in our constituencies. So when anybody makes such an approach, bear in mind that it is not legitimate. No minister, no MP would approach you, or CEO of state of an SOE would approach you and ask you to go and pay 1,000 Ghana cedis for protocol. It is a scam. We have asked all appointees of states to submit their official handles so that we can get them properly verified. But that in itself is not a panacea. I, for one, have all my accounts verified, but still people are falling prey. In fact, one of the accounts that defrauded somebody, I asked the person, I said, did you just take your time? Because instead of MP for Ningo Pram Pram, they wrote MP for Bingo Pram Pram. But the person was so excited that some judge had sent him a message asking him what to do. Unfortunately, he got defrauded to the tune of 64,000 Ghana cedis. Took a loan, claiming that I was doing recruitment. So people need to be careful. And so I beg you, I think that the biggest, and that's one of the reasons why we are changing the mandate of GIFEC. From just being a universal access fund doing last mile connectivity to being a digital economy and innovation development fund that would also focus on digital literacy. Because when you are digitally literate, you realize that certain things are just scam. And so please, from our end, as and when we get reports of accounts engaged in this, we'll continue to collaborate with law enforcement and platform operators. Because bear in mind, people say, oh, take down the account, take down the account. It's because some people have made allusions to the fact that the Minister for Communication ordered the NCA to block their accounts and all. I don't have the power to take down an account on a platform that is run by Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. The Minister of Communication in Ghana does not have control over what accounts are run there or not run there. So we don't have the power to just take them down. And because these are platforms that are outside of our jurisdiction, they're not necessarily subject to Ghanaian law. They operate under the laws of the jurisdictions in which they operate. And so the threshold for taking down an account, especially when the request comes from a state entity or law enforcement, is very high, because they don't want it to look as though you are infringing on the rights of people. So even when there is clear evidence, I have reported pages that are pretending to be me to Facebook, and Facebook has verified me. But after I reported, they told me that those pages don't breach community standards. So I think that the biggest panacea is digital literacy. Money doubling is not just happening online. And that's a matter that I have engaged the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, Mr. George Sakong, on. Let me be clear, including the data center facility and the network operations center. NITA has initiated engagements to ensure compliance, and I'm happy to announce that we have made progress in establishing and verifying 95% access to our infrastructure. The ministry shall directly engage with Smart Infraco to compel immediate payment of all outstanding amounts, including and invoke penalties and termination clauses as necessary, if need be, to protect government's interest. To the people of Ghana, I offer you this assurance. I will get to the bottom of these issues and act decisively to restore sound financial stewardship in the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology, and Innovation. Still on the subject of stewardship, I have directed the NCA to conduct a frequency audit as part of the government's Operation Recover All Loot, ORA, initiative, aimed at identifying and reclaiming all state resources within the purview of the ministry which have been handed over to private interests in a manner inconsistent with law and laid down procedure. The exercise, the first phase of a full audit of broadcasting frequencies to ensure proper management and compliance with legal procedures, have identified incidents of non-compliance that will attract a total tax penalty of about 9.5 million Ghana cedis and several infractions that warrant immediate shutdowns or revocations of licenses. The government is committed to taking the necessary action to ensure rectification of the instances of non-compliance. In the period under review, I have taken steps to better position Ghana Post to take advantage of the increased e-commerce activity and to ensure Ghana's readiness to take full advantage of trading under the Africa Free Continental Trade Area (AfTA). Plans are underway to strengthen the backbone of domestic and cross-border trade logistics, especially for small businesses across the country looking to expand beyond national borders. To position Ghana Post as a relevant and competitive public service in 2025 and beyond, the ministry is implementing a three-pronged reform strategy informed by an internal readiness assessment. First, we are updating existing infrastructure and information systems to reflect technological advancement and ensure resilience against cybersecurity threats. Secondly, we are modernizing logistics systems to guarantee faster and more reliable delivery across all regions. Thirdly, we are expanding service offerings to include e-commerce support, secure parcel handling, and access to critical public services. These reforms will transform Ghana Post into a vital enabler of e-commerce, cross-border trade, and citizen access to essential government services, laying the foundation for a more connected and efficient national economy. In line with the critical reforms necessary to reset the ministry when I took over, I took decisive steps in consultation with the World Bank Country Office in Accra to terminate the contracts of 13 staff under the Project Implementation Unit of the World Bank-funded Ghana Digital Acceleration Program. This became necessary to show our zero level of tolerance for any semblance of graft or corruption in the ministry. These terminations were patriotic action aimed to save the state from any representation that affects our international image. The ministry has secured clearance from the World Bank to replace the terminated staff, and we have proceeded to advertise the roles in the national dailies for 2 weeks, which lapsed last Friday. The interview panel is conducting a robust competitive assessment to select the best suited candidates as replacements. I have also directed Acting Administrator of the Universal Access Fund, GIFIC, to immediately begin an asset inventory of all our infrastructure across the country to ensure that these centers, built primarily under the first John Dramani Mahama administration, are put to use as a 360-degree whole-of-government center, bringing digital government services to the doorsteps of Ghanaians. GIFIC has also stepped up work to complete the outstanding rural telephony project to improve Ghana's digital inclusion drive. The completion of the project will connect an additional 4 million Ghanaians to the digital highway. On the legislative flank, we have begun work to evolve GIFIC into the Digital Economy and Innovation Development Fund, in line with the NDC's Resetting Ghana manifesto. Even as I remain focused on delivering on the President's charge, I am minded by the increased incidence of orchestrated campaigns of mis- and disinformation. I have instructed the Cybersecurity Authority to immediately improve its digital surveillance and monitoring. Several collaborative operations with sister security agencies have been undertaken, and as we speak, some are currently underway, to send a clear signal that such acts of public mis- and disinformation will not be tolerated. The government once again reiterates our respect for the freedom of expression and the right to public and private communication of citizens, but also wishes to remind us all that we have a collective civic duty to be responsible in our communication. In the spirit of full transparency, I will present a specialized legislative document on misinformation and disinformation before Parliament to be passed into law in its next meeting to create a clear legal framework for law enforcement. So notice it said, once the law is passed, we will clamp down on you if you engage in mis and disinformation. Ghana's digital voice continues to be heard on the global stage. From the Mobile World Congress and the ITU Forum to the World Bank Digital Summit and the Global Summit on AI in Africa, we have articulated our digital ambition and built valuable alliances. Our priorities remain clear as we advance: to build a digital Ghana where innovation thrives, access is equitable, and all shared technologies benefit. We have continued to deepen our strategic international partnerships, engaging in technology diplomacy with the UNDP, Germany, Turkey, and Italy to strengthen our digital infrastructure, policy frameworks, and innovation ecosystems. The World Bank, ITU, DCO, CTO, ATU, and Smart Africa remain strong partners in our digital reset agenda, and I'm grateful to them for their support so far, and I look forward to achieving our shared goals. As we move into the second quarter of the year, the ministry is poised to make even more significant progress towards a sustainable plan to ensure reliable and affordable internet for all, the pilot of the 1 Million Coders program, the national AI strategy, and digitizing public service delivery. We would see the strengthening of our policy and regulatory framework. We would commence public sensitization and education towards the impending SIM registration. And let's be clear, I didn't say a SIM re-registration. SIM registration, a proper SIM registration. And we would also do a central equipment identity register. We believe that we will roll out on the 1st of July this year. And the NCA Director General is smiling because he wants the 1st of July date. So we will roll out 1st of July. But let me be clear, there will be no long queues. Ghanaians will not have to leave their jobs to go and queue. And that's why I said it's not a re-registration, it's a registration. It will be the first time you will have a proper registration of SIMs and documents driven by technology to ensure that from the comfort of your home, your SIM card will be verified and registered. Once more, I make that solemn pledge that Ghanaians will not be saddled to have to abandon work and queue for long hours to register their SIMs. The process will be human-centered, but technology-driven. The registration is critical for our collective security as a nation. Ghana's digital future is being built today with purpose, with strategic partnerships, and with the people at the center. Let's press forward. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. Thank you. Number of tweets about that, and the Director General of the NCA is here. He's the regulator. It's one of the things that the NCA is actively looking at. If we find any incidents of price fixing or price tampering by any of the telecom operators, be rest assured the regulator will instill or impose very stiff fines. We have a regulator that is on top of their beat and will not tolerate anything that shortchanges the Ghanaian people. The thing about specialized data bundles is that at times the pricing per megabyte may be different from a regular bundle that you have bought. So you always need to be minded about the terms and conditions, because whenever you get an offer, people look at the big print and don't read the fine print. So at times you see specialized or special data bundles, but if you read the fine print, the per megabyte pricing is different from your other data bundles. So this in itself could account for what appears to be the speed of certain data bundles and all. But again, the regulator will look at how we can have a harmonized system so that people have a uniformed customer experience whether they're using the regular bundles or whether they're using special event bundles.